Let's start this off with a hot take about the talk of the town right now. The Red Sox trading Rafael Devers to the Giants. Austin5019 says the Rafael Devers trade is one of the best trades the Red Sox have made. It's like the Nomar trade from 2004, and the Red Sox will go on to win the World Series. We might as well kick things off with some spiciness here, and in case you're living under a rock, yes, the Red Sox pulled off a shocker, trading Rafael Devers and the remainder of his contract to the Giants in exchange for Jordan Hicks, along with the remainder of his contract. Kyle Harrison, a young left-handed starting pitcher who was recently in the top 100 prospects list, James Tibbs, the number 13 pick from the draft last year, and Jose Bayo, a lower-level pitching prospect. Now, I've already done a video on this. You can see that up here somewhere, but yeah, no doubt this absolutely shook the baseball world, and Red Sox fans all over the land are still trying to figure out what the heck happened here. Now, just a quick backstory to get you caught up. Now, the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman in spring training. Rafi thought Bregman was going to be the second baseman, but instead, the Red Sox said Bregman was actually going to be the third baseman and Rafi would be the DH. Rafi, he was upset about it at first, but he eventually warmed up to it. Then, Tristan Casas later on in the season went down for the year after a knee injury. Craig Breslow asked him to play first base. Rafi said no. Owner John Henry flew to Kansas City to talk to him, and Rafi still didn't want to play first base. Now, for me personally, I think the blame goes all around here. The Red Sox for not communicating properly with their star player from the get-go back this past offseason about their plans, and Rafi not putting the team first. The Red Sox didn't like this, especially when they're paying him a ton of money, really just to be a DH, but in the end, Rafi didn't really seem to care anyway. The relationship was beyond repair, and they eventually found a team in the San Francisco Giants to take on his contract. Now, for the Giants, they're getting their best hitter since Barry Bonds, and I think he has a legit shot to be the first member of the Giants since Bonds to have over 30 home runs in a season. Now, the question is for the Red Sox, what are you going to do about this giant hole in the lineup? Now, excuse Draftnik Robbie, and obviously this does hurt the Red Sox, but I don't think all is lost here. It's still early to try and figure things out. Maybe they can make a couple other moves to get the team straightened out more. They do have two of the big three in Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, who came up recently looking for ABs. They're talented young players. Maybe they could step up and help the Red Sox a little bit. And don't forget, they still have Masataka Yoshida. No, he's not going to have the power of Rafi Devers, but he is a solid hitter that gets on base, so maybe he could come back here. And don't forget, Alex Bregman is going to be coming off the IL soon. He was one of the best players in the American League before going down with a quad injury, and the Red Sox have been winning a lot of games lately without him, so put him back in the lineup. That's only going to help. Now, they also have Wilyer Abreu coming back soon, so what the Red Sox could do here is simply have him and Roman Anthony share outfield and DH duties, but if they do bring back Yoshida, there is going to be a bit of a logjam there, because if he goes to DH, well, you got a full outfield there, so what do you do with Roman, Wilyer? You got Duran there, Cedar Rafaela out in center field, so you got a lot of outfielders looking for playing time. Maybe you could do something with Wilyer Abreu in another trade, and maybe they could use Wilyer to acquire maybe a 2 or a 3 in the rotation to put behind Garrett Crochet. Crochet's been amazing for the Red Sox this year, but behind him, it's been very up and down, so maybe there could be another deal here to help give the team a little bit more balance. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, another option is if you don't bring back Masataka Yoshida and you keep working Roman into the lineup even with a full outfield, then maybe you could go out and get another bat. Ryan O'Hearn would be an in-division trade. He's having a very good year so far. He would be a rental, just like Josh Naylor. It depends on if the Diamondbacks sell or not. He's been doing pretty well with the bat here. Maybe someone like Rhys Hoskins if they wanted to add a right-handed bat, and of course if the Brewers made him available. But there are bats out there, whether that's outside the organization, within the organization, like Masataka Yoshida. Now, of course, they're not going to be able to replace Rafi with just one bat, but maybe a combo of players can help do the trick, or at least get you pretty close to it. Now, back to the hot take. Do I think the Red Sox are going to be able to win the World Series? Well, I mean, anything's possible. All right, enough Draftnik Robbie. But not having Rafi, obviously, one of the best bats in the game, is definitely going to hurt your chances here, so I'd probably say no on that. Now, I will say this. If Rafi wasn't really helping much when it came to the energy in the clubhouse and the whole first base thing was causing a distraction, then maybe moving him could create a positive effect, like when the Red Sox traded an icon and Nomar Garciaparra back in 2004. He was disgruntled over his contract. They moved him to the Cubs. They brought back Orlando Cabrera, Doug Minkiewicz, and the clubhouse, they were as tight-knit as ever. They went on a massive run all the way to the World Series to break the curse, beating the Cardinals in the World Series. Now, are they going to go on a run like that all the way to the World Series? I'm going to say probably not, but could they make a run for a wild card spot? I don't think that's out of the question at all, especially if you can get some bats to step up, you can get the lineup figured out, and if you can get the rotation solidified. K. Wallace 0307 says the Mariners become sellers. They've dropped off a cliff. It's over. Well, the Mariners have been very up and down since the beginning of May, going 17-22 since then, but both Fangraphs and Baseball Reference give them over a 50% chance to make the postseason. Now, despite the record hovering around 500, this is still a pretty good team to me, and they're still in a pretty good spot. They're 35-34 at the time of this recording, 4.5 back in the division, half game back in the wild card race, so things are still looking hopeful. The offense is way better than what it was compared to last year. They ranked 6th overall in offense as of right now. They're getting a massive year from Cal Raleigh, good production from Julio Rodriguez, J.P. Crawford, Randy Rosarena, and Jorge Polanco. And on top of that, they still got some of the best starting pitching in the game, even though it doesn't rank as well as it has the last couple of years. Brian Woo's having a very good year. Luis Castillo is his usual steady self. Now, Logan Gilbert, he had some arm issues not too long ago. And George Kirby still trying to find his way. Remember, he had a late start to the year, had some shoulder issues at the beginning of the year, but he's starting to look a little better as of late. And you have some pretty solid arms in this bullpen with Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, and Gabe Spears. So to me, I love the pitching here with the Mariners. I think it's only going to get better when Logan Gilbert comes back. George Kirby starts to get his act together. So to me, I think the Mariners need to add. Where this team does need to get better, though, is the defense. They only rank 23rd in defense on the year, and they're only 26th in outs above average. They definitely need an improvement at shortstop. Now, J.P. Crawford, he's getting on base this year, having a decent year at the plate, but he's not been good defensively. Now, they're not going to move him off of shortstop, so I think they need to try and improve in other areas. Third base hasn't been very good for them. First base as well, and if there is an improvement they can make with the offense, I think one of those two positions make the most sense. Rowdy Tellez, you're not getting a whole lot out of him. You know, Ben Williamson's at third base right now, but I think there are some guys out there that can help you out on the corners. You know, at third base, if they wanted to improve the defense there, maybe you could make a call to the Rockies about Ryan McMahon. I don't know if Ke'Bryan Hayes would be an option. He's not really doing much with the bat, but you know you're going to get better defense there at third base. And when it comes to first base, they only rank 29th in outs above average, but someone like Ryan O'Hearn, who's having a great year at the plate this year with a 156 WRC+, he's also playing good defense at first base, so I think he's an obvious upgrade for the Mariners, someone I think they need to pursue. If not him, maybe Josh Naylor on the Diamondbacks. You don't know if the D-backs are going to be sellers or not, but if he does become available, which I do think he would if the D-backs fall more out of it because he is a free agent after this year. Now, he won't be a huge improvement at first base, but he'll get the job done there, and you know you're going to get a bopper in the lineup as well. He's got a 473 on the slugging and a 128 WRC+. Now, when it comes to this hot take, I got to give it a thumbs down. Now, I know it's been tough times for the Mariners as of late. I mean, it's been tough times for years now, for crying out loud. I really want the Mariners to actually do something here, but to me, you got a ton of talent here. The offense is a lot better than what it was last year. You still got some great starting pitching. Bullpen has some good arms. I think they just need to make a couple of improvements when it comes to improving the defense, maybe adding another bat here, and I think the Mariners are primed to go on a second half run. Just wanted to say you're all amazing for sending in all these hot takes for this video, but I gotta be honest here, it was a little tiring reading all of them. Welcome to today's sponsor. Big thank you to Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's hot takes. If you're looking to improve your sleep, head over to bearmattress.com/RobbieHyde and use my code RobbieHyde for 40% off your mattress. So I got my Bear mattress a little while ago, and I freaking love it. Bear is a premium fiberglass-free mattress designed to upgrade your sleep quality and created without any harmful chemicals so you can sleep safely. It's also conveniently shipped right to your door for free within the US. Bear mattresses have a limited lifetime warranty, and they even offer a 120-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. They also just ran a survey on over 300 people with over 82% seeing an improvement in their sleep quality and 95% 85% recommending Bear to a friend. Now, when it came to looking for a new mattress, I knew I wanted something that was both firm and soft, but I also like that Bear had a sleep quiz to help me find the exact right one for me to give me that peace of mind. And for me, I put that I share a bed with someone. I'm between 201 and 250 pounds, between 25 and 34 years old, a side sleeper, I like a medium firmness, and that my old broken potato self sometimes wakes up with back pain. For the result, I got the Elite Hybrid Firm mattress, and since I've slept on this thing, I can't even tell you how much of a difference there's been with my sleep quality. My old mattress that I got at Mattress Firm like 15 years ago used to sink and basically had no support. You could literally see the imprint in the mattress. With this one though, it still looks like a brand new mattress even after tons of use already. Not only is it durable, but it's incredibly comfortable and really hits that sweet spot between support and softness, and I've pretty much been falling asleep in under 15 minutes every night. Every morning, I'm waking up feeling better and more rested than ever before. It was also incredibly easy buying this online, and Bear even offers financing options with flexible payment plans. Point blank, I love my Bear mattress, and I think you will too. If you're looking to upgrade your sleep, head to bearmattress.com/RobbieHyde and use the code RobbieHyde to get a whopping 40% off your Bear mattress. This is even higher than what's being offered online right now, so seriously, take advantage. For the next hot take from Drew, he says the Cubs need to go all in and make a trade for Chris Sale and Raisel Iglesias. Well, the Braves being sellers is a bit up in the air right now, but nonetheless, I definitely think the Cubs need to go all in. Now, when it comes to the lineup, it's been very good this year. They rank 3rd overall in offense on the year, and Kyle Tucker has been absolutely amazing, one of the best pickups from this past offseason, but he is going to be a free agent soon, and who knows if the Cubs are going to be able to give him the money that he wants. He is going to get a fat payday this offseason, so I think the Cubs need to take advantage of this window while they can. Now, Chris Sale, yeah, I mean, he would be a huge upgrade for this rotation. I absolutely think the Cubs need to add something for this rotation. They lost Justin Steele for the year. Shota Imanaga's been on the IL as of late. You know, they are getting a good year for Matthew Boyd. Colin Ray has been solid as well. Jamison Tyone has been a lot better this year, but I think the Cubs need to add something, and a proven playoff performer like Chris Sale, the reigning Cy Young winner who's having another great year, I think would be a huge addition. But again, I don't know if the Braves are going to be sellers. If they do become sellers, then yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Go after someone like Chris Sale. They got a lot of good prospects in that system. I think they could get a deal done if that became available. And another thing to mention too is I think the Cubs are primed to make a big trade like that. Remember, they were on the cusp of getting Jesus Luzardo this past offseason before medicals caused the red flag. Now, there are options out there, but my preference would be Sandy Alcantara. Now, he's had a rough start to the year since coming back from Tommy John, but he has looked a lot better lately, only giving up 2 runs over his last 2 starts. Granted, it was the Pirates and the Rockies, but you got to start somewhere, right? But I trust the Cubs pitching department to get him more straightened out as the year goes on. And the Cubs also have plenty of position players within their system that I think the Marlins would be interested in, since they've been trying to add more bats to their system. So to me, I think a deal should be able to get done here. Maybe you could do a package centered around Kevin Alcantara, the number 4 prospect, Jackson Wiggins and Jonathan Long. They also rank pretty well too. Jackson Wiggins having a good year in the minors this year. He ranks number 9. And Jonathan Long, a guy that has a lot of versatility, and he's having a pretty good year with the bat. He's the number 12 prospect in their system. Now, I could expect bidding to maybe get aggressive for Sandy, especially if he continues to pitch better. So maybe the Cubs could up their offer, to someone like Moises Ballesteros instead of Kevin Alcantara. I don't know, whatever it may be. The Cubs have a lot of bats within this system. I think they should be able to get a deal done here. If not Sandy Alcantara, there's a couple other options out there. Zach Gallen, he's had a rough year for the Diamondbacks. Now, again, will the D-backs be sellers? I'm not so sure about that. But with Gallen having a tough year, ERA over a 5, FIP almost at a 5, if there is a change of scenery out there, I think the Cubs could be a good home for him. Wrigley Field over the last few years hasn't ranked very well when it comes to park factor. He gives up a good amount of fly balls, so maybe that could be a good home for him. And again, the Cubs pitching department, maybe they can get something on track with him. If not, you can go to the Orioles, maybe Zach Eflin. He's been pitching pretty well as of late. A guy that's pitched in the postseason. He can give you some good innings down the stretch. So whatever it is, I think the Cubs absolutely need to add something to this rotation. Again, Matthew Boyd having a good year. Reyes Correa, Tyone, they've been pretty solid here, but I think you need to add another solid veteran guy. Since we're on the topic of Rafi, let's do a couple of more here. So we got a couple of trade proposals for the Red Sox that I thought were interesting. So I'm going to do a 2-for-1. From G-Mags, he says, Wilyer Abreu from Mick Abel. The Red Sox get a controllable starter from the Phillies who have a full rotation and Andrew Painter coming up, while the Phillies get a young outfielder with immense potential and 4+ years of control, a good 1-for-1 swap. And Nick's picks for MLB says the Red Sox trade Wilyer Abreu to the Brewers for Freddie Peralta. So pretty much both of these focus on Wilyer Abreu. So again, if Masataka Yoshida were to come back and be the DH, they're going to have to figure out the outfield here, and I think it makes some sense to try to capitalize on Wilyer's value to make room for the #1 prospect in all of Major League Baseball, Roman Anthony. Now, could you send Roman back down to AAA? Sure, but I don't think there's really anything left for him to prove down there. Now, before I get to the trade, I do want to address that I could see some people saying trade Jarren Duran instead because his offensive profile tends not to age well with all the speed he has. But on the other hand, that's very difficult to replicate. He still has 3 more years of control left after this season, and he is a leader in the clubhouse. Now, when it comes to Roman Anthony, Wilyer Abreu, I think Roman's profile matches Wilyer a bit more, but he has much more of a ceiling. And since Wilyer has over 4 years of control left, I think it makes more sense to move him. All right, so let's get to the trade. You got Wilyer Abreu going to the Phillies, back to the Red Sox. You got Mick Abel. Now, as you can see here, there's a big difference in the values, and you might be asking, why is Mick Abel's value so low? He's been pitching great for the Phillies so far since getting called up. 3 starts, ERA at 2.35. But the problem with Abel, he's been very inconsistent in the minor leagues. He's had a lot of struggles down there, especially with command. Now, he has a ton of potential. He could definitely get this value up over time if he continues to pitch well. But right now, it has taken a bit of a hit because of that track record in the minor leagues. Now, for Wilyer Abreu and the Phillies, yeah, sure, I could see a bit of a fit there. The problem is Wilyer is most comfortable out in right field. Nick Castellanos, where the heck is he going to go here? Schwarber's going to be your DH. Castellanos is out in right field. Wilyer would definitely be an upgrade defensively out there, but, where do you put Castellanos? Do you move him to left field? I'm not so sure. So there is a bit of a log jam when it comes to the outfield here. I'm not sure if Abreu fits necessarily, but he would definitely give them a boost in offense. They have been struggling offensively as of late. But for this trade, I think it's not going to get it done. I think also for the Red Sox, they would want to have more of a proven guy to go behind Garrett Crochet. Abel just came up recently. So I think they would want to get more of a bona fide #2 or #3 in the rotation. And for the other trade, you got Wilyer Abreu going to the Brewers, and back to the Red Sox, you got Freddie Peralta. Now, first off, I just want to say, I don't think this happens, at least as of right now, but it's very interesting to think about. Now, you got to remember with the Brewers, they are a small market team, so they have one eye on the present and one on the future. Now, with Peralta, he is going to be a free agent after next season, so I wonder if you could see a situation where the Brewers look to capitalize on his value, especially in a pretty weak starting pitching market for the trade deadline this year. And with the Brewers, they do have Brandon Woodruff coming back soon, and they did just call up their top pitching prospect, Jacob Misarowski, who looked dominant in his debut. So perhaps this could be a situation similar to Josh Hader a few years ago. Sell while the value's high and go with a younger option like they did with Devin Williams, while also getting back some young talent. So in this case, they could be getting themselves an everyday right fielder in Abreu that they could put in the middle of their lineup for the next 4.5 seasons. They could move Sal Frelick out to left field, and Abreu can just go right into right field. And maybe they could even do something with Rhys Hoskins if the Red Sox feel like they need to get a more established everyday first baseman instead of going with a platoon of Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez. Out of these two trades, though, I do find this one more interesting, but at the same time, again, I have a hard time seeing the Brewers trading away Peralta because they're always trying to compete. Now, I'll throw in a couple of more trade proposals that I came up with. Maybe you could do something with the Royals, who are starving for offense in the outfield. Maybe you could do Abreu, and maybe the Royals could sell high on Chris Bubic, who just came into the rotation this year after being in the bullpen for a while. He's going to be a free agent after next season, so maybe the Royals see a chance here to sell high on him and get back a cost-controlled outfielder for the long term. Or maybe you can go go to the Reds, where they've been scuffling with the offense this year. Abreu would definitely give them a boost out there. Maybe you could do something for, say, Nick Lodolo. Another thing to think about as well is the Red Sox just brought in more prospects in the Rafi trade with James Tibbs, Jose Bayo, a young pitcher like Kyle Harrison. So they now have more flexibility within the farm system to go out there and make a trade, but they also have more flexibility when it comes to the payroll as well, now that Rafi's huge salary is off the books. So if you want to go out there and add a contract, you could definitely go do that. Maybe someone like Mitch Keller, who has a contract running through 2028. He's having a pretty good year. I think he could be a pretty solid mid-rotation guy for the Red Sox. Maybe Sandy Alcantara, who's not having a great year, but he does have a couple more years of control on a pretty team-friendly deal. Maybe the Red Sox could look into that. Or maybe Freddie Peralta on the Brewers if he becomes available. Maybe you can do some kind of a package deal with Freddie Peralta and Rhys Hoskins now that you have Rafi off the books. So I think the Red Sox, they're in a pretty decent spot here to be able to add something. Up next, we got Gabriel11 saying the Braves will trade away a big piece like Chris Sale. They look good, but they aren't playing up to expectations. Now, it's been a frustrating year for Braves fans all across the land. At the start of June, they were 27-30, and they proceeded to lose their first 7 games of the month. Since then, they've still been up and down. They were pulling off a couple of wins, but then they've been dropping some games lately. As of right now, they're 13 back in the division, 8 back in the wild card race. So I'm not sure what to think of this Braves team right now. But they are going to be getting Jerickson Profar back soon, so maybe they got a little bit of hope. Now, on the bright side, this team is absolutely full of talent, and they are going to be getting Jerickson Profar back soon, so maybe there is some hope on the horizon. As of right now, Fangraphs is still giving them a decent chance to make the playoffs. They're at a 27.9% chance to make the postseason, but they're going to have to start getting things going here soon. Now, when it comes to the Braves being sellers, I am going to wait until the end of the month. Again, they have so much talent on this team. They could easily go on some kind of a run here, but like I said, they got to get it going. But if they do become sellers here, they do have some candidates. Now, Chris Sale, he was mentioned in the hot take. He would absolutely be on the table if you ask me. You know, rating Cy Young winner, having another great season here, ERA at a 2.79, FIP at a 2.74, good amount of strikeouts. Absolutely, Chris Sale could be had if you ask me. You got Marcell Ozuna, who's going to be a free agent after this coming season, having another solid season at the plate. A 388 on base, a 422 on the slugging, is a little lower from last year, but still has a 131 WRC+. Teams that are starving for offense, like the Rangers, the Royals, the Padres, the Reds maybe, I think would be great fits if it became available. Now, Raisel Iglesias, he's having a terrible year, but does have a good track record. You know, this guy's one of the better relievers in the game for a while now. Again, a down season, but maybe a team could take him on and maybe get him back on the right track. I'm also curious about Sean Murphy. Drake Baldwin has really broken out this year. You know, Sean Murphy has had a little bit of pop so far, slugging 451, a 116 WRC+. Now, there's not a lot of teams that could use catching help. I do look at the Padres. Maybe they could use an upgrade there, but I'm looking at all of these guys for the Braves right now. Again, I'm waiting to see if they can go on some kind of a run here, but it's looking pretty grim as we speak. Last but not least, and speaking of the Rangers, from Daniel, he says the Rangers will be buyers rather than sellers, no matter their record. I got to give this a thumbs up. Like the Braves, the Rangers also have a ton of talent, but the difference is the Rangers are much closer to a postseason spot. Sure, they have a 500 record, 36-36 at the time of this recording, but 5.5 back in the division, 1 back in the wild card race, playing great baseball as of late. 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 straight games. They've had some of the best pitching in Major League Baseball this year. Jacob deGrom has been absolutely amazing, and he's been healthy. That's something you haven't seen from Jacob deGrom in a long time. And also Nathan Eovaldi, Tyler Mahle, they are on the IL right now, but both those guys have pitched great this year. Jack Leiter's taken a big step forward this year. Patrick freaking Corbin is even pitching well. And on top of that, the bullpens look very good. Robert Garcia's been a good pickup. Chris Martin, Hobie Milner, both have an ERA under 2. I mean, they got a lot of good arms in this bullpen here. The problem with the Rangers so far this year has been the offense. A lot of underperformances all across this lineup. They're one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball. You know, Jock Peterson, they picked him up this past offseason. He got off to a terrible start. He started to turn it around a little bit, but then he got hurt. He went on the IL, so who knows when he's going to be coming back here. Now, the offense has been pretty rough this year, but they are starting to pick it up a little bit. You got some guys that are hot. Josh Smith, Marcus Semien is finally starting to pick it up here. Evan Carter has looked pretty good as of late after a very slow start starting the year in the minor leagues. Adolis Garcia is starting to pick it up a little bit. So if this offense can just get themselves on track, and you were hoping they were going to do so when they got rid of their offensive coordinator. I still can't believe I'm saying offensive coordinator with baseball. It just sounds so weird. But let's see, after bringing in Brett Boone in the second half, maybe they can get things on track, and maybe they can go out there and add another bat. I do think they're going to be buyers. Chris Young, the GM, is super competitive. I absolutely see him going after someone. I think Marcell Ozuna, if he becomes available, would be an amazing fit here. Like I said, having a solid year. This is a guy that gets on base. The Rangers have struggled with that this year. I think he's the perfect bat for this lineup, but if not him, maybe you can go after one of these first basemen, Ryan O'Hearn or Josh Naylor. What you could do is you could move Josh Smith out to the outfield, and then one of those guys can simply just slide into first base. Or someone like Ryan O'Hearn, he can play in the outfield as well, whatever it may be. But I definitely think the Rangers need to go after a bat here. But everybody, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think of today's hot takes? Let me know your thoughts on the Rafi Devers trade. What do you think about it for the Giants? What do you think about it for the Red Sox? Let me know. What do you think the next move for the Red Sox should be? Do you think the Giants should make any more moves? Let me know what you think. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.